Hi, fifth graders. Today's topics are going to be standard and expanded form, place values, comparing numbers, and rounding. So we're going to get started with standard and expanded form. So for this specific worksheet, they give you the expanded form and the standard form. So if they give you the expanded form, then they want you to write it in the standard form. And if they give you the standard form, then they want you to write it in expanded form. So we're going to do numbers 3 and 6 together. Let's start off with number 3. Number 3 gives us 600 plus 30 plus 8. Now, this is the expanded form, so they want us to squish it down into standard form. This is if you want to see it visually, you can write it down in terms of the biggest to smallest. So it'll be 600 plus 30. Make sure that all the numbers match up, plus 8. And what I mean by making sure all the numbers match up, I see that the zeros all in the ones place are lined up together, and all the numbers in the tens place are matched up together, and the numbers in the hundreds place are all matched up together. So we're just going to add. So we know that 0 plus 0 is just 0. And then if we add an 8 to that, we get just 8. And then we do 0 plus 3, which is just 3. And then 6 plus 0, because in front of these numbers, there's going to be an imaginary 0. So it will be just 6. So the standard form of 600 plus 30 plus 8 is going to be 638. And that's called the standard form. Now we're going to do number 6, which gives us the standard form. So it wants us to write it in the expanded form. So it gives us 80,040. So we're going to start off with the biggest number, and the biggest number is obviously 80,000 because there's 3 zeros. So this number, the last number on the right is going to be the ones place. The number all next to the ones place is going to be the tens place. The number next to the tens place is going to be the hundreds place, and then there's going to be a comma, and then the next to the comma is going to be the thousands place, and the next to the thousands place is the 10,000s place. So we get, and the 10,000s place, 8 is there. So we're going to put 8, and then we're going to put, since there's 4 numbers behind it, we're going to put 4 zeros. So we're going to put, oops, it's a bit messy. We're going to put 8, and then we're going to add 4 zeros. So 1 0 there, and then we're going to put the comma, and then we're going to add 3 more zeros. And then we're going to add, and then since there's a 0 in the thousands place, we're just going to put nothing there. So you can choose to put 0, you can choose to put 4 zeros, but you do not have to. You could just leave it blank and move on. But as we see here, the hundredths place also is a 0, so we're going to leave that blank and move on to the tens place. And we see that in the tens place, there's a 4. So we're going to put a 4, and then we see that there's only 1 0 behind it, so we're going to put the 4 here. I mean the 0 there. So it's going to be 40. And as we see, next to the 4 is a 0, so we're just going to keep it as a 0. And that should be our final answer. So our expanded form of 80,040 is just 80,000 plus 40. And that's how you do the first worksheet. Now we're going to move on to place values. So this worksheet just wants you to know your number values. So we're going to start off with number 5. Number 5 gives us 13,400. And it labels right here. It has the labels right here: 10,000s, thousands, hundreds, and ones. And as I explained earlier, you have to know your place values. So as we know, the number on the farthest is going to be the ones. So we're going to start off with the ones. So since there's a 0 in the ones place, we're just going to put a 0 right there. And then we're going to move on to the tenths. And in the tenths place, there's also a 0, as you can see. So we're going to put 0 again. And then in the hundredths place, which is next to the tenths place, right here, is a 4. So we're going to put 4 right here. And then next to the 4 is a comma and then another number, which is the thousands place. And as you can see, there's a 3 in the thousands place, so we're going to put 3 right here. And then next to the thousands place is a 10,000s place, so we're going to put 1 because there's clearly a 1 right there. So for this worksheet, you just need to know your place values, and then you need to start and you need to write down the numbers that are in that exact value place. It's fairly easy. Next, we're going to do comparing numbers. Comparing numbers is basically knowing whether it's less than, greater than, or equal to. So we're going to do number 10 together. Number 10 gives us, oh, that's a big number, 5,451,413,950. And then we get 5,451,415,000, and that's it. So as we can see, the first 4 numbers, I'll write it down, number 10. So the first 4 numbers are 5,451,000,000. And as we can see, I guess the first 5 numbers, including the 4 and, first 6. The 4 and the 1 are also the same. So up to here, the numbers are the same. And then starting from the thousands place, the numbers are different. Now, we see that for the number on the left, it gives us a 3, and the number on the right gives us a 5. And we know that 5 is bigger. So we're gonna say that 5,451,413,950 is less than 5,451,415,000. And you know it's less than because 5 is greater than 3. And some people might get confused on how to use the less than and greater than, so I will label it for you guys. So less than, it's going to be this symbol, and greater than is going to be this symbol. And the way you use it is, you see this open, you have to think about it as like a Pac-Man or like an alligator. So the open side is always going to face the number that is greater. So since, as we can see, number 10, 5, the 5 was greater than the 3, so that's why we put less than. And you can see that it's like eating the greater number. So that's what you have to like imagine it as. So this is going to be the mouth, and the mouth is always going to eat the bigger number. As for the equal sign, is very obvious. You put it when the numbers are the exact same. So just remember that less than is this symbol and greater than is this symbol, and that it will always eat, because it looks like a mouth, right? It will always eat the greater or the largest number. Okay? Now we're going to move on to rounding. For rounding, it gives you these underlined numbers, and we're going to do number 6 together. Number 6 gives us 712,301. And as we can see, out of all these 6 numbers, 3 is underlined. So that is the number that we want to round. And if we want to round that number, then we have to look at the number right behind it, or right to the right of it. And there's rules for rounding. So you round up when the number is greater, is 5, or is is 5 or greater. And then you round down, which basically means it just stays that number. When the number is less than 5. So you round up when the number to the right is 5 or greater. So and then you would round down, or it stays the same when the number is less than 5. When I say stays the same, I mean the underlying number. And then the numbers behind it turn into zeros. That's what always happens when you round. And I'll show you what I mean. So for number 6, it gives us 712,301. And the number underlined was 3, and we had to look back at to the right of it, which was 0. And as we can see, 0 is obviously less than 5. So we're going to have to round down, right? And rounding down doesn't necessarily mean that you have to turn a 3 into 2. You basically round down the numbers next to it. So it would just be, you just turn these two numbers into zeros. So we're going to leave the 3 the same, and it's going to be 712,300. And that's what it means to round down. I think I should choose a specific example where you have to round up. So let's see what else I should do. Let's do number 1 then. So for number 1, it gives us 450, right? And then 4 is underlined, so we have to look at the number behind it, which is a 5. And when we look back into my rules right here, it says you round up when the number is 5 or greater. And we can see that the number next to it is the 5. So we're going to round up. So what that means is these two numbers are going to transform into zeros. And that's going to be the same as when you round down. But this number that's underlined in the first place, let's erase this so you don't get confused. The number that's underlined in the first place, 4, is going to go 1 up. So we're going to round 4 into 5. So when you round 450 up, you will get 500. And that's what it means when I say you go when it's 5, you round up, and when it's less than 5, you round down. So you need to remember these rules when you're rounding. And that's all I have for you guys today. I hope this video helped you guys a bit.